According to a survey by the Royal Horticultural Society this week, nearly half of the garden space in the UK has now been paved over, which maybe makes what we're going to look at next all the more important. It's a scheme called Nature, Towns and Cities, and the idea is to bring nature into the urban environment. It involves an investment of more than £1 billion in the next decade to give us greener cities and townscapes. And as our Dorset reporter Tristan Pascoe has been finding out, that has unexpected benefits.
Portsmouth, a bustling, densely populated city centre. It does have some green spaces, like Victoria Park here, but not everyone living in the city has access to nature on their doorstep.
We know that much of Portsmouth isn't built for nature. Too many of our housing estates built in the 40s and the 50s don't have gardens. 85% of children in some of our schools don't have a garden at home. There's one ward where, in Southsea for instance, where there's virtually no green space at all. And we want to try and change that. We know children are excited about communing with nature, communicating with nature, and we want to use this excellent money to try and actually help them deliver that.
The National Trust's Nature, Towns and Cities Fund is giving Portsmouth £15 million to improve and develop its urban nature offering.
Well, there's various ways in which we can do it. We want to work with the voluntary sector. We also want to work with very successful councils like Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole, for instance. Some of the ideas we've got are things like green corridors, for instance, which I understand they have in Bournemouth as well. Double the tree canopy to about 15%. It's about 9% at the moment. Try and increase that. But also try and encourage kids to understand the potential that nature has and actually take care and look after their own environment.
6 years ago, BCP Council was selected to be part of the Future Parks Acceleration Programme and given funds to fast-track green projects and schemes like this one, a house martin tower slap bang in the middle of a housing estate.
They love having the house martins around, and it's working with the community to achieve that. It's about connectivity and about celebrating what we have, but also investing in the green space, and the Nature, Towns and Cities enables us to do it at scale and to look at our whole area and how it connects together, how we're making sure that people can get to green space and open spaces, and for people some green spaces to relax, to enjoy and spend some time with nature.
The success of the project is one of the things that saw BCP named as the first of the National Trust's Nature Towns earlier this year, an example for places like Portsmouth to follow.
What we find through schemes like this is, the community are willing. We also want them to then say we can do a bit in our own back gardens. If you put a pond in, even if it's an old barrel or some buckets and semi-submerged, wildlife will find it. You will find dragonflies coming to your garden. But hedges, trees, leaving a bit of dead space, all of those things, it makes such a difference.
Into Bournemouth town centre itself, and there's another example of a green urban project. Just off the main Christchurch road through the centre of Boscombe is this little woodland walk. It's a real oasis of calm amid the noise and bustle of the town centre at one end and a walk down to the seafront at the other. And it's brim full of nature and wildlife.
Well, it is quite amazing really seeing that we're in an urban area. We've got a relatively small woodland which is stuffed full of moths and butterflies and birds.
There's even a webcam.
The fact that it's in a town centre makes it even more valuable because we're making an area which is good for wildlife but also good for people.
There are a ton of studies linking access to nature with good mental health and well-being. I didn't see any squirrels, but you get butterflies here. And
you do get butterflies.
Kevin has suffered from poor mental health for years and uses this green space all the time to relieve anxiety.
It's just serenity, isn't it? And you walk down here, you haven't got to go far before you forget the road behind you, and you can watch the wildlife. And I'm frequently down here with my binoculars. It gets me out, it's a great walk. I'm immediately calmed, particularly down through this area here. And watching the work that's gone on is terrific.
The National Trust and Natural England, backed by lottery funding, aim to attract £1 billion over the next 10 years to double the number of nature towns and cities.
We're all in it together, that we have an opportunity to improve where we live, and that's got to be a great thing. People do get a lot from being amongst nature, and it doesn't have to be a distance. We can do it on our own doorsteps.
Back in Portsmouth, and it's hoped that within 3 years it'll be named as a nature city.
A greener city, more trees, more people who understand the importance of nature, the ability to link nature to people's health and to people's mental health and people's mental well-being, so that we can encourage our children to understand that nature matters and that they can make nature important, because they're going to be here long after we're gone.
Oh, it makes me want to leave the studio and just get out in the green space, that does. Let's be serious, though. That money has all come from Natural England, the lottery. It's not government money, is it? Where's the government in these projects?
Well, first of all, how beautiful is Bournemouth? I know I'm biased, but that VT was fantastic. The government is prioritising nature-based solutions, and it's not just here that we're doing that. Just last week, I asked a question in the Commons about what the UK is doing to support the Amazon rainforest to stop with its deforestation, because it was raised by a young girl who goes to St Catherine's Primary School, which itself works alongside nature and the beach. And it just goes to show that when you are by the beach and you are immersed in nature, and that school children get that opportunity, they grow that love for nature, they lobby their MP, and that's how you get the government to do even more around this.
I mean, Liam, you're on a council here. You will know council funding is so tight that leisure has been squished and squished and squished. You know, when you hear that, do you think they're prioritising nature?
Well, I mean, the cost of all these projects is always huge. That's the problem. But I think there's a role that local government can play in terms of planning. So in West Oxford, where I live, for example, we've got to build 18,000 homes, thanks to our government setting that ambitious target. So what we need to be doing now is working with developers to work on those green corridors so we can keep some green spaces, because otherwise, you know, towns like Carston and Witney in West Oxford are going to be, you know, swallowed up to more of an urban environment where people that live in villages want those green corridors and green spaces to enjoy, because we live, you know, the Witchwoods and the area of outstanding natural beauty are absolutely incredible, and we want to preserve those and keep those for generations to come.
I think that's such a key point. It's not just about building the homes that people need to live in so that we've got a more affordable housing market, it's building communities. And the green infrastructure is so critical to that. I think of Boscombe, my office is on Boscombe High Street. We're about to see their new trees and new planters going in so that you've got that nature playing a role within the urban environment. You've also got behind us the building of 4 social housing blocks, and around Boscombe you've got more development going into the area, which is fantastic. Boscombe's on the up, but it's about home building and building communities too.
My thought, though, is, you know, when you've got that really high target, you're looking for every site you can find, brownfield sites that actually could have worked for urban greening, couldn't they?
Well, there's not many brownfield sites, unfortunately. Most of it is, ironically, going on green spaces that we're having to build on and then cause issues with runoff. You know, you touched on the point in the VT about people now build, you know, gardens are going and it's all becoming concrete. People, when they're buying new build houses now, often have very small gardens. There's not much green space. So I think it's getting that balance right, but also it's just so expensive to put a lot of this infrastructure in. And I do think actually local government should be focusing on fixing the potholes, not putting greenery on the top of bus stops, for example.
Well, that's really interesting, because obviously there is a benefit when you do this. I mean, we saw Kevin there in the piece who was saying it had really helped his mental health. If you take away these early interventions, are you maybe giving yourself problems in the future, Tom? What do you think?
Well, as a former councillor who put greenery on a bus stop, I very much agree with doing things like that, because it helps to enthuse people about nature, and I think that's really, really important. And when you think about Bournemouth and the fact that it is close to the beach and to the sea, that we've got so many opportunities to enjoy nature on our doorstep, we just need to be encouraging as much of that as possible.
Liam?
Yeah, no, I agree. Certainly from a mental health point of view, I accept that. Like I said, I live in a rural area, so, you know, it's different for Southampton or Bournemouth that's more urban, but certainly, you know, 2 minutes from my house and I've got a lovely ancient forest and Blenheim Palace on our doorstep. So
you'll be back there soon,
so
don't worry, we're nearly done. We'll be back in the green space. Now let's take a look.